little different setup today. Getting
Looks
better.
good.
Now I can like look this way and see you and look at the camera, kind of same thing. So,
Yeah, good.
and
I
it was,
I turned I turned off the light, so we'll test it with this light, I guess.
all right, all right. How are you,
Now,
man?
I could switch up a location here and there and test it out as we move along.
Yeah.
So
How are you?
good, man. How are you?
Good, dude.
Good.
Just watching everything, you know? Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a little bit stressful and a little anxiety ridden, but I think that's more on the surface for me anyway. And I think that's only because I'm just doing a lot of digging and looking for a lot of info and trying to find out anything I can. And then, of course, faith that helps to get you through stuff. But and keeping the fight on, man. I just have trust that our fight, the patriotism will win out, and we'll see how that goes. But
Of course.
yeah.
So you've been doing some research, you've been doing some digging. What have you come across?
Yeah, well, let's see. I don't know if I let you know, but my Twitter's been suspended, so that's nice.
Man.
I've now been censored. That feels really good to have that taken away from you, and so it's been a little bit harder to get some information because a lot of the info flow you see comes through there. You got to vet it out. But I went down to a rally yesterday with part of the Patriots out here and was getting a little bit of info, talking to them, and of course Lana still has her Twitter, and anyway, looking through Parlor and Gab and whatnot. Um, just been looking for some tidbits, some crumbs, and
Yeah.
I've got some stuff. So I've got about 3 or 4 different areas that I gathered up info for. So
Care to share with anyone who might be watching here?
yeah. So anyway, you've been talking about the agent provocateur realm,
Yeah.
and I watched that interview you did with what's his name? This is the 1770.
1776, yes. Yep.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
answer. The answer is 1776.
The answer is
Yeah.
1776. Yeah, good interview. Good guy. He's a patriot.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the agent provocateur thing, there's, and I'm sure you've seen it. It's out there. There's certainly all kinds of video of now surfacing of you, the police kind of backing off and doing their little weak stance. You talked about that.
Allowing them. They allowed the whole thing. It was a
Allowing them.
concerted effort to get the shot and demonize the enemy.
Yeah.
This is standard. This is standard
Yeah.
protocol. You
Yeah,
know.
and letting them in, and then I saw a video today of a congressman who was exiting the building, who just opened the door wide open with no regard to security when people were right there. Just let him right in. He walked out the building.
Yeah.
It's really kind of sad. It really is kind of a setup. And the funny thing is, you look at it, and the second that the breach occurred, every one of those politicians were just down on the floor, like they knew what to do already.
Yeah.
It's just bad, and that leads into what you were just talking about. It's really to vilify those freedom-loving Americans,
Yeah.
patriotic Americans like you and I, and your buddy that you interviewed, and 85-90% of every other American out there.
Man.
Honestly. So, yeah, that's crazy. But they do this, and they're really trying, and it's kind of working for those who aren't awake yet. At the rally, we had a couple of people tell us you're giving a bad name to the conservative movement. We had a few little debates here and there with folks like that who are taking the bait.
Right. They're getting
Well,
influenced,
So
I thought it was real interesting in the last few days. Biden mentioned Joseph Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels, are you familiar?
yes, yep,
So, he was the minister of propaganda for the Nazi Party.
that's right.
And Biden put this into the narrative now. And, obviously in reference to his opponents. But, yeah, they're spelling out exactly what they're doing in
That's
plain
right.
view. And then they're pinning it on their opponent,
That's right.
So
Projection.
that's
Yep.
all it is. And I feel like it's more significant that he brought that character to the dialogue,
Isn't it?
just in general. Like,
It's the nail on their head. They project everything that they're doing onto Trump and the Patriots. Everything they project. They're merely admitting it in one way or another. It's an admission,
Yeah.
and they're just projecting it onto the other folks. It's just really disgusting.
So, yeah, man, I mean, it's real interesting. I mean, I heard the Insurrection Act was signed. Is that what you're getting or what?
I saw that in a few different spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that in a few different spots, and there's a little bit of evidence that that was one of the areas I was going to talk about. Is you see a lot of these blackouts that are going on.
Yeah.
Of course, worldwide, globally, but also here in the country. The D.C. air traffic was shut down for quite some time, which is kind of bizarre. A lot of grounded airplanes. There are several. I sent you a lot of videos from Parler of troop movements around Washington D.C. area.
Yeah.
Videos of generators along, in different spots in different areas. The rumors are that there's over 7,000 troops in D.C. right now. You saw the streets; they're empty. No one's on the street.
Yeah, they put up a fence barrier there.
Yeah.
Vatican went blackout. Pakistan went blackout.
Yep.
I believe that was to curb a transaction between certain parties. And I don't know. I mean, insurrection, blackout. It's like, all right, what's gonna happen here? I mean,
yeah. If you follow any of the Q stuff, and I know sometimes that can get a little bit controversial on what some of the conspiracy theories are. I found that some of the stuff that's been mentioned on the Q posts are certainly coming true and coming to light right now, without a doubt and clearly to me. So I kind of look back on a little bit of that stuff, and I don't say I think the Q thing is information and disinformation working both ways. So It's really hard to decipher, and there's some really interesting things on there. But some of that stuff is really coming to light. It's if you look at some of those posts and the timings and go back, and some of these guys on social media will do 2-year and 3-year deltas, and the 2-year deltas show around January 13th ish. You might be seeing some kind of action on that. So we'll see. I mean, the blackouts are started. They're starting to censor so many people.
So we're thinking emergency broadcast system. That's going to be the mode.
Yeah.
That's going to be the only transmission.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. That should be the only transmission. You saw that executive order where they're warning the media companies to oblige by their obligations, their legal obligations, and then you see I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but there's some kind of word going around for taking auto updates off of your phones, because they're saying iPhone and some of the maybe the Google phones may be sending out updates to disable your emergency broadcast system capability in your phone. So we'll see. Perhaps that message was sent out to send a warning to those folks.
So crazy. We're just watching the war.
Yeah.
And we're just in it.
The information war, we're right in the middle of it,
It's so nuts.
The crazy thing is if it's, if they won, Billy, if they really think that they won, and Biden's going to be president, why impeach? Why try to pull the 25th Amendment? Why do all this censorship?
Get him out.
What are they worried
10 days. Get him out. Get him out. Yeah.
What are they so worried about? What's so important that they can't wait 10 days?
Man. So, yeah. It's real interesting.
Kind of crazy. The other thing that I kind of just want to touch bases on is, make sure that you got your emergency supplies up to speed.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple weeks worth of food and water, batteries, survival stuff in case power's out and water supplies stop for some reason, or just think about it. If this is the end of their time, they're gonna do whatever it takes to keep control, and whatever it takes, because the option for them is no less than life in prison or very harsh punishment or death or worse. So they'll do anything they can to maintain that control. Just make sure you're prepared in whatever way you can be. That includes your wealth as well. Start looking at. I know you look at Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Precious metals, diversification, real property versus paper money, all that good stuff. So
yeah, man.
Yep. So
good
anyway,
stuff.
That's what I got.
Yeah. It's the 10th, and what is it? 10 more days.
10 more days.
10 more days. So it's crazy.
Yeah. Say, pray, have a little bit of faith and hope. And
after the 10 days, let's say the 10 days pass, nothing really happens. Biden gets inaugurated. Do you think people will eventually just accept it, move on? No. We're going to see some reaction from a large group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think absolutely.
Yeah.
If there's, and I honestly, I'm on the train of thought that.
Does that qualify them as domestic terrorists?
What's that?
If groups of people start taking action in, as far as violent action.
Well, I guess whoever's in power can define what domestic terrorism means. I would say, as a constitutionalist, I would say no. That means you're taking the very last spelled out right in the Constitution and abolishing the tyrannical government. That comes from me from the patriot point of view, the constitutionalist point of view.
Yeah.
The party in power, whoever's in power, I guess, gets to define the rule.
Who's the terrorist? Who's the criminal?
So So sure, would they call us a bunch of domestic terrorists? Yeah, they already are.
Do you have any sincere fear of going to a camp?
Oh, I was telling Lana that if something like this comes down, that they truly stay in power. In that type of condition, that guys like me, people like me, veterans, people who are in that system, who are trained, and in one way or another, or let's say people who are in prison, criminals, people who might be dissidents, if you will. I would say we all get rounded up, and I would say that they would want to ship us all off or control us in whatever way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
That's what happens in China. It's what happened in the Soviet Union. It's what happened in Cuba and Venezuela, and Syria, Iran. That's what happens in those regimes. That's what they do.
Do I have a fear takeover?
Of it? I'm not afraid of it.
What does a person do if they're faced with that, with getting taken away? What do you do at that point?
Well, you defend yourself.
To the death.
That's what it takes.
Yeah. I agree, man. And
you and your family. That's what you do.
Yeah. You do not get rounded up and watch your neighbors get rounded up and
No.
just sit by. You do not. That is the wrong methodology here, because that's how it allows it. You know, everyone needs to stand up. Everyone needs to say what's going on around here. You know, I saw this video saying, you know, people, they want the power of government to inflict, you know, laws and coerce those who disagree with them, and they're using the system as a weapon against those who disagree with them, and that, you know, that alone, it's going to swing back and forth, and so you're just allowing this structure to determine who lives and who dies. You know, it's insane.
Yeah, can't allow it. You know, I really feel that were to come down to that, and that were to happen, you know, people in general aren't going to let it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the wake-up call is happening. There's so many, the majority of people see a tyrannical government, and it wouldn't take much more to push everybody else over the edge and to the point where they see it. I mean, when they start seeing UN troops or Chinese troops coming, they're going to know they got to defend themselves.
Man.
Which,
let's pray that never happens.
That's not going to happen.
God damn it.
That's like, you want to know what the largest military in the entire world is?
The American citizen.
The American militia.
You know, the people.
Yep.
So.
Highly trained.
Good stuff, man.
All right, man.
This is real times, and, you know, let's keep these conversations going.
Sounds good.
All right, dude. Have a good night.
All right, you too, brother.
See ya.